It's your boy Carcino here. This is the top 5 best rap labels in history. I think before we start this off, we gotta give honorable mentions to Rap-A-Lot Records, Suave House, Swisher House, a lot of other rap labels that didn't make the cut. You know what I'm saying? So let's do that first. And let's talk about those that did make the cut. Let's look at number 5. And this is very hard to do, by the way, a list of, because you got to do not just most successful, you got to look at how the artists are after they leave the label, you know, those scenarios that people seem to forget about, the actual artists, how they're doing, and what happened with them. But number 5, I have the Rough Riders. Rough Riders! DNY. They had one of the most successful runs that anybody has seen in a very long time. And when that happened, you know, with their label, it was very unfortunate. But they had a lot of success that people didn't see. You know, DMX was the biggest staple they had leading out the gate, but they also had Eve, the Rough Rider soundtrack. They made a lot of money doing a lot of different other things. So when that happened, it was only fitting that they yeah, it was sad what happened with them. But they had one of the best producers, Swiss Beats, who still right now is out there making money doing nothing. He even started rapping. Number 4, I'm gonna have to go with people love calling me on Sundays. I'm gonna have to go with Bad Boy. Bad Boy Entertainment. Bad Boy had a long run, but not a super successful one, especially with the artists. Most of their artists end up leaving, but out of all the labels for hip hop, they had mostly R&B as well that was successful. And a lot of people would probably have Bad Boy a lot higher up on the chart, on the list. But, you know, I don't. Then number 3, we're gonna go with Death Row Records. Death Row Records definitely supposed to be on this list because Death Row Records, I mean, come on, they were trailblazing at the time, but due to a lot of internal things happening with the record label, turmoil with artists, it just didn't seem to be the ideal label to want to be with ultimately in the end. And number 2, I'm gonna have to say it's Rockefeller Records. Without a doubt, Rockefeller. Yeah, the Rockefeller label. Long time. Rockefeller held it down for a long time, and they held it down quietly. They had a lot of successful records and a lot of records that weren't successful, but they were engineers as far as going out and getting things done, as far as signing new artists, putting these Philly rappers on, and keeping the East Coast afloat when Bad Boy and Death Row were falling off. Rockefeller and Rough Riders was basically the 2 labels that was keeping the East Coast afloat. Before we do number 1, we like to say shout out to Cold Chillin' Records, of course. Loud Records, that record label was on fire. So Def. There's a lot of those would probably be in the top 10 if we did 10. Number one is Def Jam, of course. Russell Simmons and Def Jam, the longevity, the amount of artists, amount of millionaire artists. Shouts out to Murder Inc. too. They had a successful quiet run that a lot of people forgotten about, that was abruptly ended shortly by the feds. And don't forget Aftermath Records. Aftermath Records is up there. It's just that there wasn't a lot of activity besides 50 Cent and Eminem. That was it. But they're still going strong, even though it's a whole power thing now. But look at what they doing. They still doing strong. They still doing numbers. Yeah, I gotta go in now. It's gonna start raining. But it's hard to do record labels, man. I try to do it as quickly as possible and come out here and give y'all something while I'm out here at the marina, you know. I said, well, let me at least get them something. You know, I did you guys a favor and exposed Joe Buttons for you, and y'all said, what that got to do with Drake? The man tells you in the beginning he gonna take somebody's style, and y'all still run with him. So what? Some everybody have whack lines. It's okay. Next thing you know, you don't tell me it's okay to hit women. You don't tell me it's okay to do drugs. Long as he dissing Drake, it's okay. Tell you, some people, man, they don't even hear the words that's coming out of their mouth or what they type.
Why did you do that?
All right, thank you. All right, I'm gone.